Do you want to know why some women come back to you after ignoring you for days, weeks, or even months? Listen closely. It's not by chance. There's a precise psychology behind it, and if you don't understand it, you risk ruining everything as soon as she reappears. In this video from Relationship Psychology, I'm going to reveal the 5 true reasons why a woman returns after a period of no contact, and especially how you, as a stoic man, should react to keep the power. And pay attention, the 5th reason is the most powerful one, the one that 99% of men ignore, and which makes all the difference between a man who's respected and a man who's used. So stay until the end, because what you're about to discover today can change your way of seeing relationships forever. Here's the psychological reason. Why do women come back after a period of no contact? When you observe a woman disappearing from your life, vanishing for several days or even weeks, the first reaction of many men is often panic. They wonder why she isn't contacting me. What should I do to make her come back? But the deep truth that very few understand is that her return is never due to chance. There's a human psychology behind this behavior, a dynamic that works in a subtle but powerful way. Understanding this dynamic means understanding how mystery, personal value, and emotional independence act on the feminine mind. It all starts with the concept of scarcity and perceived value. When a woman doesn't see you constantly, she's no longer used to your daily presence. She starts to feel a void. And this void, far from being simply a lack, is actually a powerful psychological trigger. She begins to wonder what you're doing, why you haven't given any news, and especially if you're living a full and interesting life without her. This questioning creates a mix of curiosity, desire, and subconscious attraction. In other words, your absence becomes a catalyst for your return to her mind, but with a much stronger and more valued perception than before. Let's take a concrete example. Imagine you've met a woman and shared intense moments together. Then, for some reason, she stops contacting you for a week. If during this period you panic and flood her with messages, you trigger the opposite of attraction, emotional dependence. She senses that you're affected by her absence, and the mystery disappears. But if instead you stay calm, continue your life normally by working on your projects, seeing your friends, and investing in your passions, you become what we call in social psychology an independent value. This independence naturally draws her attention, and she ends up coming back to you, not to control you, but because you've shown that you possess something rare and precious, self-mastery and inner freedom. The second dimension of this phenomenon is linked to strategic silence. It's a principle found in Stoic philosophy, not reacting impulsively to external events, but observing calmly and acting with intention. When you don't seek to immediately fill the void left by her absence, you exercise control over your own mind. Stoicism teaches that it's not what others do that affects us, but the way we choose to respond. In this context, your silence isn't a sign of weakness, but a demonstration of power. You don't depend on her attention to feel complete. This strategic detachment is exactly what triggers her desire to return. An everyday example. Imagine you've sent a message and she doesn't respond for 2 days. Many men would react by sending 3 or 4 more messages, or even calling directly in the hope of getting a response. But the Stoic knows that value isn't claimed, it's demonstrated through action and personal stability. Instead, you choose to stay calm, enjoy your time, read a book, do sports, or work on your projects. During this time, she begins unconsciously to feel a void and renewed interest. This psychological void, associated with the perception that you have an interesting and independent life, becomes the engine of her return. A moment of Stoic wisdom. Marcus Aurelius said, "Perfect tranquility consists in the good order of the soul, in your own independence from external events." Applied to our theme, this means that your calm and self-mastery during her absence are what create true value in a woman's eyes. She doesn't come back because you've begged or insisted, but because you've shown that you're a man who doesn't lose his balance over external things. Your value emanates from your inner control, and that's exactly what attraction rewards. To conclude this first part, remember this. Never panic when a woman disappears. Don't rush to fill a void she's created. Stay true to yourself. Continue to invest in your personal development and live a full, enriching life. It's this combination of mystery, calm, and personal value that truly and durably attracts. Be master of your mind, and the external world will naturally align with you. Tell me what you think in the comments. I'll read and respond to each of you. Don't forget to like and subscribe by turning on the bell so you don't miss anything. The effect of strategic silence. How does silence make a woman come back? Many men confuse absence with abandonment. When a woman stops responding to your messages, disappears for several days or even weeks, the instinctive reaction is often to send even more messages, to try to fill the void, to attempt to control the situation. But the reality is that strategic silence is the most powerful weapon for arousing attraction and interest. Silence isn't simply the absence of communication, it's a conscious strategy, a subtle demonstration of control and self-mastery. It shows that you don't depend on her attention to feel complete. You're not in panic. You're not chasing external validation. You remain anchored in your own value. This attitude, far from being cold, is profoundly attractive. It creates a psychological dilemma. Why isn't this man trying to fill the absence? What is he doing? Why does he seem so indifferent to my absence? Let's take a concrete example. Imagine you've met a woman, shared several intense dates, and she suddenly disappears for a week. If you call her every day or send incessant messages, she'll feel pressure and emotional dependence. The mystery disappears, and with it the attraction. Conversely, if you choose to stay silent, not to fill the void, you let a natural curiosity and latent desire emerge. Strategic silence works exactly like a psychological magnet. It attracts without effort, because it incites the other person to want to fill the void herself. Stoicism teaches us that we must not be slaves to the actions of others, but remain masters of our mind and reactions. Epictetus said, "What troubles men are not things, but the judgments they make about things." In this context, it's not the woman's absence that creates tension or stress, but your judgment and reaction to that absence. If you choose to stay calm, confident, and independent, you transform what could be a stressful situation into a strategic advantage. Silence becomes a demonstration of inner strength, a clear signal that your value isn't defined by her presence or attention. Another example that many men will recognize: you send a message, she doesn't respond for 2 or 3 days. Rather than panicking and flooding her with messages, you decide to continue living your life fully. You spend time with your friends, invest in your work or personal projects. You practice a sport, read a stimulating book. During this time, she begins to notice, even unconsciously, that you haven't been affected by her absence. This constancy and independence awaken a deep interest and growing desire. She realizes she doesn't own you, and that's exactly what pushes her to come back to you. It's essential to understand that strategic silence shouldn't be used to manipulate, but as a tool for personal mastery. It's about staying aligned with your inner calm, exercising patience, and letting time and circumstances do their work. You thus show that you're a man who owns his life and value independently of others' actions. This attitude completely transforms the dynamic in a relationship. You're no longer the one chasing attention. You become the one who's naturally sought after. A moment of stoic wisdom. Seneca said, "He who is master of himself is more powerful than he who conquers a city." Applied to our theme, this means that your calm and strategic silence have more power than a desperate attempt to control or beg. By remaining master of your mind and emotions, you become irresistible and create a natural attraction that works long-term. To conclude this part, remember this: silence isn't a void. It's a space filled with potential. Every moment you choose to stay calm and not react impulsively increases your perceived value and strengthens attraction. By letting mystery emerge and staying independent, you become the man she can't ignore. Master your mind, stay calm and independent, and the external world will naturally align with you. Tell me what you think in the comments. I'll read and respond to each of you. Don't forget to like and subscribe by turning on the bell so you don't miss anything. The perceived value. Why do women come back to the man who stands out? In every human interaction, and particularly in romantic relationships, what we call attraction is intimately linked to the perception of value. But be careful, it's not just about physical appearance or material wealth. The real value, the one that makes a woman come back to you after a period of no contact, lies in your independence, your calm, and your emotional coherence. It's this invisible but powerful value that triggers desire and attraction. When you stay calm and independent, you embody a silent authority. That means you don't seek to please at all costs. You don't chase external validation, and you don't change your behavior to please. This posture creates a perception of rarity and value. Women, consciously or unconsciously, are attracted to those who possess this inner stability because it reflects a strong and balanced character, someone who doesn't depend on their presence to exist. Let's take a concrete example. Imagine a man who's dated a woman for a few weeks. He doesn't panic when she stops responding for several days. He continues to live his life fully, goes out with his friends, focuses on his passions, and stays calm in the face of no news. Then, a few days later, she comes back. The initiative to resume contact comes from her. Why? Because she recognizes his value not through words or incessant messages, but through his coherent and independent behavior. The perception of his value has grown during his absence, and that's exactly what draws her to him. Stoicism teaches us that true strength lies in the independence of the soul. Epictetus said, "Don't seek for events to happen as you want, but want them to happen as they do, and you'll be happy." Applied to our interactions with a woman, this means that your happiness and value don't depend on her presence or behavior. You choose to remain master of yourself, and it's this independence that becomes irresistible. By staying aligned with your principles and your life, you become a figure of stability and mystery, which increases your perceived value. Another concrete example that many will recognize. A man invests in his personal development, while the woman who appreciates him is distant. He signs up for a new course, resumes sports, invests in a professional or artistic project. Instead of focusing on her absence, he develops his own life. A few days later, the woman comes back to him, intrigued and attracted, because she perceives a man living his life fully and possessing a value that doesn't depend on her. This contrast between emotional dependence and independence creates an irresistible magnetism. It's important to understand that this perceived value isn't superficial. It's deeply rooted in your character and daily actions. Coherence, discipline, autonomy, and emotional stability are qualities that everyone unconsciously seeks in a partner. They show that you're capable of navigating life with mastery, and that's exactly what feminine psychology rewards. A moment of stoic wisdom. Marcus Aurelius said, "Don't lose sight of your own value, and don't let others' actions alter it." In our context, this means that your calm and independence during a woman's absence aren't just strategies to make her come back, but a demonstration of your alignment with your own inner value. When you're in harmony with yourself, you become irresistible without effort, and your natural attractiveness grows. To conclude this part, retain this. Perceived value is the key to lasting attraction. It isn't claimed. It's demonstrated through coherence, independence, and emotional calm. A woman comes back to you, not because you pursue her, but because she recognizes your integrity and value. By staying true to yourself and cultivating your life, you become the kind of man she can't ignore. Cultivate your value, remain master of yourself, and be unshakable in the face of absences. Tell me what you think in the comments. I'll read and respond to each of you. Don't forget to like and subscribe by turning on the bell so you don't miss anything. Concrete action to apply. How to stay irresistible after a period of no contact. Now that you understand why women come back to you, thanks to scarcity, mystery, and perceived value, it's time to move to the practical step, the concrete actions to apply during a period of no contact. This is where many men fail. Understanding the psychology is one thing, but knowing how to use it in daily reality is another. First, stay busy with your passions and goals. A rich life full of activity creates a powerful contrast with the absence of contact. For example, instead of staying glued to your phone hoping for a message, you can dedicate time to your personal development, learn something new, train in your work, do sports, or even travel if you have the opportunity. Every action you take for yourself will increase your real and perceived value, and that's exactly what feminine psychology rewards. When she comes back, she'll see not a desperate man, but a man who already has a full and interesting life. Second, maintain your calm and emotional stability. Women are sensitive to emotional signals. If you show panic or agitation, it reduces your attractiveness. On the other hand, remaining master of your emotions during a woman's absence creates a powerful magnetism. For example, if she comes back after a few days, avoid showing that you were worried or trying to fill the silence immediately. Stay relaxed, talk normally, and keep your independence intact. This constancy is irresistible because it demonstrates that your value doesn't depend on her. Third, create a slight mystery without exaggerating. Mystery is a powerful catalyst for curiosity and attraction. This doesn't mean lying or manipulating, but simply not revealing your entire life and emotions at the first opportunity. For example, if she asks what you've done these last days, you can respond with enthusiasm, but briefly. I've worked on an interesting project and spent time with friends. You show that you have a rich life without being too explanatory. This subtle contrast between presence and absence, between availability and independence, is what makes a woman come back to you, eager to reconnect with that energy and value you embody. Another key point: never seek to fill her absences or obtain immediate validation. Many men make the mistake of trying to restore the connection immediately by sending several messages or seeking proofs of interest. But Stoicism teaches that true power lies in self-control and mastery of one's mind, not in impulsive reactions to external events. Seneca said, "True wealth consists in being sufficient unto oneself." Applied here, this means you shouldn't depend on her reaction or return to feel your value. When you embody this independence, you become naturally irresistible. Finally, use the no-contact period to strengthen your personal and social development. Spend time with your friends, improve your skills, develop your network, and invest in your passions. This constant improvement creates a natural attraction because a person who progresses and elevates attracts others automatically. She sees that you don't waste time in anguish over her absence, but that you move forward, and this contrast is exactly what pushes her to come back to you. A moment of Stoic wisdom. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Here, the reaction you choose to a woman's absence, staying calm, independent, and active in your life, is what triggers attraction and the desire to return. You don't control her actions, but you control your behavior and value, and that's this mastery that makes all the difference. To conclude this last part, remember that strategic silence, perceived value, and emotional independence aren't superficial techniques, but deep principles that reflect self-mastery and true attractiveness. By applying these concrete actions, you become the man women respect and desire naturally. Remain master of yourself, invest in your value, and advance without depending on others. Tell me what you think in the comments. I'll read and respond to each of you. Don't forget to like and subscribe by turning on the bell so you don't miss anything. When she comes back, how to stay in control of the game. It's essential to understand that the no-contact period is only part of the process. The real test begins when she decides to come back to you. This is when many men fail because they let emotion take over and lose all the value and mystery they had built during her absence. If you really want to stay irresistible, you must know how to welcome her return without losing your inner balance. First, avoid the most common mistake, showing her that you are waiting desperately. Many men, when a woman comes back after a long period of silence, almost forgive her immediately, give her all their attention, and act as if nothing happened. But this behavior sends a clear signal. You have no boundaries, you're ready to accept any treatment, and you're dependent on her presence. On the contrary, the Stoic knows that every relationship must be based on mutual respect. Her return is a sign that she recognizes your value, but that doesn't mean you have to give her all your power. Let's take a concrete example. Imagine she's ignored you for weeks, then comes back with a simple, "Hi, how are you?" The impulsive reaction would be to respond instantly with enthusiasm, as if you'd been waiting for that message day and night. But the wise, Stoic reaction would be to respond calmly and composed, without haste. You can reply briefly, with lightness, then return to your life. This shows that you're glad she's back, but that you don't depend on her return to feel good. This detachment, far from pushing her away, strengthens your attractiveness. Second, when she comes back, don't change your life rhythm for her. Continue to invest in your passions, your work, your projects, and your friends. If you modify your entire schedule simply because she's back, you send her the signal that your life only has meaning through her. On the contrary, a man of value is one whose life is already rich and full and whose presence of a woman is an addition, not a necessity. Show her through your actions that your life continues with or without her. It's this independence that makes her presence even more desirable. Third, Keep a part of mystery even after her return. Many men, out of fear of losing her again, open their heart completely and recount everything they felt during her absence. But by doing that, they destroy the aura of mystery and value that had pushed the woman to come back. The secret is to stay open and sincere, but not to reveal all your feelings and thoughts at once. You must keep that part of the unknown, because it's what fuels her desire to rediscover you again and again. Another crucial point: test her return. It's not because she comes back that she immediately deserves the same place as before. Observe her behavior. Is she really interested? Does she show effort? Is she sincere? The Stoic knows he must not rush his judgments, but observe with calm and patience. You have nothing to prove because your value doesn't depend on her return. It's up to her to demonstrate through her actions that she deserves to resume her place in your life. A moment of Stoic wisdom. Marcus Aurelius said, "Don't let others disturb your inner peace. Your strength lies in your power of judgment." Applied to our theme, this means that a woman's return must never disturb your inner balance. You're happy she's back, but your happiness doesn't depend on it. You remain master of yourself, your reactions, and your judgment. And it's exactly this quiet strength that makes you irresistible long-term. In the end, remember this. A woman always comes back to the man who knew how to keep his calm, cultivate his value, and stay independent. But if you want her to stay, it's not enough to celebrate her return. You must embody the constancy and mastery you showed during her absence. Show her that you're not just the man who knows how to be silent, but also the man who knows how to stay strong and aligned even when she comes back. When she returns, never lose what you built in the silence, your strength, your mystery, and your independence. Tell me what you think in the comments. I'll read and respond to each of you. Don't forget to like and subscribe by turning on the bell so you don't miss anything. There you have it. You now know exactly why women come back to you after a period of no contact. It's not magic, it's not chance. It's your value, your independence, your calm, and your mystery that create real attraction. But retain one essential thing. The true victory isn't that she comes back. It's that you remain master of yourself when she returns. That's the path of the Stoic man. Final goal. I want 1,000 comments under this video. Write your experience. Tell me if it's already happened to you and how you reacted. I read and respond to each of your comments. The only way you can really help me is simple. Subscribe, like the video, and share it. Why? Because it shows the YouTube algorithm that this content helped you and it allows other men like you to learn these powerful truths. So tell me in the comments, have you also experienced this situation? I want to read your story. Thanks in advance for your support, and remember, the man who masters his mind always attracts what he deserves.